Greetings, Warriors of the Ring. My name is Strider656, and I'm thrilled to welcome you back for yet another adventure through Middle-earth. In this series, I'll be playing random ladder matches on Discord and showing you War of the Ring games from my perspective by only viewing my cards and sharing with you my thoughts and in-game reactions while trying to keep the end result a mystery. The other player is aware that I'm making a video, as I asked for permission both before and after playing. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and I encourage you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Today's video has been a long time coming. I actually recorded this, not recorded, but I played this game about a month ago on September 27th. And the person I'm featuring today is LuckyRuds. LuckyRuds is an up and rising star in the War of the Ring community. He currently has, he's actually rated one lower than me at 48 currently. I'm currently at 47 as of the recording of this video. So a little bit about LuckyRuds. LuckyRuds found the board game in a shop in Vienna. He was there the first time with a buddy and saw it and thought, Lord of the Rings. Bruh, let's go. In terms of how he found the Discord, he watched YouTube videos of Ira and he thought he always wanted to play online because none of his friends has that passion in War of the Ring. So through Ira is how he found it. Prior to this game, they played 30 games in real life. And because his buddy always ring, sprint, dunked my fellowship, I got upset and started reading Board Game Geek. Then they started watching YouTube a few weeks ago. And they like to play, it's something interesting about them is they like to play odd strategies that nobody expects and win, at least with vent points, style points, trolling in general. Trying not to stick to the norm. He goes by he, him, and he says hashtag Team Cavs Kappa. All right. So let's dig into this. I just played LuckyRuds before. I played him when he was newer to the server. He played free the first game, but that wasn't a video. But this one is. He wanted a video, so this one is. I'm playing free people. As you can see, I have Swords of Eriador and I have Mirror of Galadriel in hand. And Fellowship is okay. He allocates an eye, rolls 2 more. Happy to see his roll here. So I'm like, yep, he's not going to get Saruman turn 1. Until I roll this. And I'm like, what the hell? What am I going to do with this? I mean, it's a lot of musters. And I can move armies around at least. But I was hoping I could roll some Palantirs. The ideal roll, I think, is like a Will of the West. A character. Actually, an ideal roll turn 1 is all Wills of the West. Who am I kidding? Because they can't get rid of it. So I say awful. And I have to go first. So I decide to play Swords and Eriador first to see if I can get a better card. Because that actually draws. So an Elite shows up in the Shire and in Ered Luin. And I draw a Last Battle. He decides to move to Gorgoroth correctly from Barad-dûr and Fahrat to Nihilrad. Standard play. I decided I'm just going to rush the elves down because that's usually a target. And he goes out of Dol Guldur and up to Morannon. I think I said him with the Fellowship. He hits on 6s here. Let's see how he does. So we're sipping out of Rivendell. Fellowship is off, and here comes the hunt. The Nazgul are flying around and miss. 5-5-1. Very close. Thinks for a while here. And decides to play the Balrog using a character. I move the elves down again. And then I change my mind and decide to move Edoras to Westamnet. And because I don't see them going towards Old Forest Road, I'm going to move the guy from Iron Hills into Erebor. He moves Isengard to war. Okay, so that's turn 1. Looks like the elves are threatened. The Fellowship has moved once. Feeling pretty good so far. But I've drawn a Mithril Coat way too early for that card. Whereas a Theoden, oh man. Nothing rage-inducing like that when you just move your Rohan units. Fellowship, okay. Let's see what happens. He allocates an eye because he has to. Rolls 1 more. And now he has his musters he needs to do stuff. And let's see how I roll. Better. That's a good roll. I could crown Strider here, but I think I just want to move the Fellowship on 2 eyes. I pass. He moves Sauron down. I play Riders of Theoden. And I said that's a bad idea. I guess what I was thinking there is I could get a draw, maybe draw into Power Too Great. That's what my thoughts were. But instead, I'm thinking maybe I can lose Gandalf if I move enough. So I move the Fellowship with the character action. I changed my thing. This must have been a late game or something. All right, so we're moving to second time, and he gets 2/3, and he is mustering Nazgulin. And with the Fellowship again, using the Will of the West. Sorry. I have another one too. And he rolls a 2/3 again. So I feel the Nazgul are just doing the same thing over and over again. They're trying, but struggling. Identical roll. But at least we're in Moria currently. And he decides to... Let's see what he did. Ran into Daggerlad, which is here. And moves towards Lorien. So those elves aren't feeling too good right now. Nothing I can do about it. So with the Fellowship again, hoping for a miss. He hits with a 5. And draws an eye. Good for him to get an eye because it's less likely he'll pull an eye for the Balrog here when I go through here. So here I go, 1, 2, 3, 4. I asked if he wants to use the Balrog, and he does. First, he decides to and he draws a 3. So this is very Lord of the Rings-ish. We went through Moria, the Balrog came and claimed Gandalf. So I say, how iconic. Gandalf dies, finding the Balrog in Moria. And then Moria draws a 3. And my story here is... I'm doing a random, by the way. So he draws Gimli. I think that makes sense. So maybe in this version of Lord of the Rings, Gimli was struck by grief when he saw his cousin's grave. So maybe he just had despaired in Moria. So I'm at 2 corruption. All right, Saruman is in because I can't get a Will of the West here. And I decided to flip the Fellowship using Strider's ability. Because I can't... If I move the elves down, right, then if I move him down again first turn, he still gets to attack before I can muster. So I'm not going to help him get the Witch King. So he decides to move from Daggerlad up. So the Fellowship is despairing right now over the loss of Gimli and Gandalf in Dimral Dale. I will go alone and Círdan ships. Círdan might be playable soon because he's probably going to attack the elves. I'm going to turn 3. We go. I allocates 2 eyes because he has the rerolls. Rolls no more. And I roll 3 movement. So I'm going to use my Mirror of Galadriel. What I'm thinking is Gandalf the White wants to come back in. He feels really bad for the Fellowship here, wants to give him some hope. So I do play it just to get a Will of the West. He musters an elite in Mordor and Moria. And here comes Gandalf the White in Fangorn. And now he moves outside of Lorien and moves this army north. I pass. And the way I'm looking at it too, he only moved so he can't... He could move, but he needs to attack twice in order to get the Witch King. So he puts Lorien under siege. I pass. He moves the Southerners and Easterlings down. I move the Fellowship here. Let's see how they do this time. Miss. Reroll. He rolls a 2. I say one more. Don't forget. This is the Nazgul's roll. And it's a 5. So barely miss. So maybe the Gandalf showing back up restored some hope for the Fellowship here, guys. Safe. And I tell him I'm a judge. So I'm not going to cheat. So he attacks Lorien, and he puts the elves to work. So I know what he's doing with that last muster action. He plays a strategy card, so I'm going to play Daylight against that. I'm going to use the last battle one. He plays Desperate Battle. That's 2. It's 2 hits on me. And here comes a great roll. So I roll 3 1s, and I re-roll a 1. And I said, wow, glad I rolled that masterpiece. So I don't know what the elves were doing. Maybe they were despairing. over the loss of Gandalf and Gimli. So they're just really sad over there. So he decides to press here. To run him to downgrade. And he plays Onslaught, fighting Urukai. And he gets 3 6s. And I got 1 back. So I'm not rolling too hot here. But at least my fellowship is moving along. And I muster an elite up into Woodland Realm to give him a harder time. He brings the Witch King in, going towards the dual line, so I know where he's going. And that flips everybody. So that's turn 4. Lorien. So that turn was about Lorien despairing. But the Gandalf is back, guys. So I declare away from that group. He allocates 2 eyes, rolls 2 more. That's a lot of eyes. But he has musters. And I roll this, so I'm thinking Strider is longing for home. Maybe he's really, like, it's been very sad for him. So he's like, guys, it was a fun time, but it's time. And game-wise, it's 1 corruption. It's only 2 corruption points that I'm possibly taking in exchange for this. So it's, So, and it also turns off Foul Thing from the deep. It will still work, but you can't Foul Thing Strider. And Boromir is the guy. So Boromir's like, I got this. I'll take over from here. You go ahead, my captain, my king. And he can't stop me from crowning Aragorn because these guys are not at war yet. So he starts following the Fellowship with that giant army and goes up towards Woodland Realm. So I decide to flip Aragorn first. He moves Southrons and Easterlings all the way to war. I put another elite in Woodland Realm. I want to make this annoying for him. I also have Círdan. So that's the last I'm going to muster there because I'm going to use those for Dol Amroth if he goes that way. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. He decides to muster into Nir Harad, making this army huge. With a Fellowship on 4 eyes. Let's see how this goes. The first roll's a miss. 2, 4, 5, 2, very close. And he rerolls 2 5s. So I say a few, he gets mad, says, come on, I blame him. It's always frustrating when you allocate eyes and then don't hit, because that's 2 actions you could have had. He plays the King is Revealed, which works because Aragorn's here. So, I decide to... I think about it. I think about strip raiding Aragorn. But I'm thinking maybe I could just move the Fellowship again. Because I need to get movement. Since his military has gotten Lorien. I say, can you roll 5s? And he can't, because he can roll 6s instead. So he got 2 6s here. So that could be an eye, which could kill Boromir. It's a 3. Let's look at the hunt pool. I think that's the last 3. I think he's drawn all 3 of them in a row. 3, 3, 3, yeah. So that's the last heavy hitter, which I'm happy about for things like... I'm trying to think of that card name. Why can't I think of it? Isildur's Bane. Won't be effective. So Boromir dies at the appropriate place. Kind of goes along with the book here. He dies by the... If you think about it, theoretically, they're in the same area over here where they cross over. Over Emyn Muil, I think. And Legolas is now the guide. And I remind him that's all the 3s. He plays Shadow is Moving. So 1's up, 2, 3, and 4 down here. Wants to follow the Fellowship into Rohan. He moved the Fellowship with the army and realized he shouldn't want to do that. And I let him put the guys he wants back. I wouldn't mind the free movement. So, alright, so turn 5. Let's see, I draw Dane Ironfoot's Guard and File of Galadriel. Both great cards. And I declare away from these guys. I know you want to sit on me, but there's no reason to stay there. And the reason I go here is because I have 2 options, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. So it's harder for the shadow player to dictate which direction I'm going. So the Fellowship crosses over after Boromir's death. They're sad, but Legolas is leading the hobbits now. He allocates 2 eyes again and rolls lots of characters and a muster and 2 Palantirs. And I roll a Will of the West and lots of characters. So now I'm thinking I'm just going to rush the Fellowship. So move the Fellowship on 2 eyes. He hits. It's an eye. And let's move the Corruption up because I'm not going to lose Legolas to that. So I can't figure out where to go. And I decided to go here because I don't want them to move up to go onto them and give rerolls. I'd rather make it annoying for him. That's the reason why we're in the no man lands. I say no random. I'm just going to take it. He moves his Nazgul in the way because now he knows which way I'm going. I just laugh, and he moves Nazgul leadership to Gondor area. Flip the Fellowship. He plays Warm Sorrow and Toil using a character action. He could have played that using a Palantir to get more attacks, but I don't know. I move the Fellowship. Let's see how he does. It's a miss, 4-2. Reroll is a 4. Barely missed. And LuckyRuds is not feeling lucky in the chat. He puts 3 dots in. He plays Nazgul Search to stop me. He moves his guys around. Doesn't look like he does any kind of movement. All right. And I'm going to flip the Fellowship because and I have a decision to make coming up. He texts Skillet, this makes perfect sense. I would do the same thing. I do no card, hoping for that he misses. And he doesn't miss. But I get 1 back. But his military is going really well. So if you look at his combat rolls, they've been like atrociously good. And then if you look at his hunt rolls, they're pretty bad. So I decide I think for a while here, and I decide I want to use a ring now to move the Fellowship. So I had an option to save Aragorn or to move the Fellowship, and I choose the Fellowship. He hits, and it's a 1 reveal, so I'm happy to be revealed into Morannon. So it's a 1 reveal. I take the damage, and I'm hoping for an eye, but he draws a 1, which I take. I'll look at the hunt pool in a second. He puts Minas Tirith under siege. I say, good luck, Aragorn. I play File of Galadriel because I know that he can't stop me from getting here. So Minas Tirith, Strider's or Aragorn's looking on with his 5 guys. So I don't know what's going on in Gondor, but no one's there to help protect him. He plays Dreadful Spells on Minas Tirith and gets 4 hits. I was actually hoping he would get 5 here, because if he got 5, then Aragorn would survive, since theoretically you were not allowed to... The companion can't die to a card like this. So he got 4. And then he uses a ring to finish Minas Tirith with no card and gets plenty of 6s. And Aragorn doesn't hit back at all. So he just left the Fellowship. I'm guessing he just went there and was just despairing. He was pulling a Denethor and just a depressed king. All right, so he's at 4 victory points. I say glad he fought well. Going to turn 5, I'm in Mordor. Down to 5 dice. I draw Ents and Guards of the Citadel, another card that's mocking my existence. Guards of the Citadel drawn a turn too late. Looks like he's allocating eyes in Mordor. Rolls no more. And I roll 2 Wills of the West, so I can at least hide first. So I hide the Fellowship to start. He thanks for a while. Draws a character card. I decide I want to get Mithril Coat on the table, so I can avoid any painful cards. So I start with an Ents. And I get 3 hits. And I put Mithril Coat out. Okay. He moves the mouth to Dol Guldur. I move the Fellowship here. Hoping... If it's an eye, I'm going to use Mithril Coat. Let me see what's in the hunt pool. Let's look at it, guys. Yeah, if it's an eye, I would play Mithril Coat. and it's a 2. So look at my cards. So what card is better? Probably Mithril Coat, but there's other ways also an excellent card because it gets him healing. So I let him know that he can choose if he wants to discard the card I have in hand or Mithril Coat. And he chooses Mithril Coat. So I think about passing here. And I decide to go because I'm worried about Rohan. So the Rohirrim see this giant army because it could be he just needs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and he'll win. All right, so the cards are right. We disconnected for a second, so that's what I do. So I'm down to 1 action left. So it looks like he's moving towards here. Most guys in Asgiliath from North Athelion. So they're meeting up, saying, hi, guys. He brings the mouth in, or the mouth is already in. He flips and attacks Pelargir. Playing Cruel Weather. Wonder when he got that card. So the guy in Pelargir is killed with the Cruel his death, but he hits back at least. Better than the Aragorn army. So he moves everyone except for 1, probably blocking Path of the Woses in case I have it. Draws a character card. I decide to muster a leader. I put a Rohan leader. That's random. Let's see. Do I have enough leaders to make this work? Yeah, it's fine. All right, so I put a Rohan leader by accident in Dol Amroth and a regular in Lamden. That should show him that I have Círdan ships because I'm making room for leadership and also blocking the way so he has to attack that army. He attacks Lamden with the character card and it's his magical strike. And he hits on the reroll. And they hit back. So at least I feel like the Gondorians are doing better than Gandalf's force. So they're at least hitting while they die. So good job to those Gondorians, the fishermen. And draws another character card. And he's going after DA now. He's putting his troops on it. Which is fine because I'm going to play Círdan first thing next turn. I draw axe and bow and help unlooked for. He draws his cards. He allocates 2 eyes, rolls 1 more. And I roll plenty of movement. So this is great for me. So I'm going to start right away by playing Círdan ships, probably with the muster action. Or the Palantir. Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of just mustering later on. Gondor should be at war here, by the way. LuckyRuds is not happy. He swears in the chat. He says, that's not cool, sorry. It is cool for me. So no problem, go ahead. Plays Foul Thing from the Deep on me. And draws an eye. This prompts a discussion in the Discord, and I want to talk about it briefly for people who are watching. The question is, if Foul Thing from the Deep is played, and he was to do a random, would War on the Star and Toil trigger? If these 2 are guides? And the answer is no. Because you follow the rules for a successful hunt. But first you use the guide ability before you would do a random companion. So, the answer is officially that would not trigger War on Star and Toil with 2 hobbits there left. But it's an eye. So LuckyRuds not happy. Says sure. Because that's one more friendly tile for me. If you look, this is the hunt pool, which prompts, I think, we'll see in a second. I draw 2 reveal. That's going to kill off the hobbits. And Warren is gone. And Gollum's a guide, so no damage. He tries to play Lure of the Ring here, but can't because they're not revealed. And plays Olagai instead up in DA. Helping that fight. I correct Gondor. Now, at this point, LuckyRuds says Hunt Pool's a joke, but we've got, it's been a sad time for the Fellowship. Think about it. You had Gimli die in Moria with Gandalf. They don't know that Gandalf the White's there. He's just in Fangorn sitting Ents after Saruman and just hiding. And then Aragorn dies in Minas Tirith. So everyone's dead except for Gandalf, who's hiding in Fangorn, and the hobbits. But he says Hunt pulls a joke. But I say, if I pull an eye, it's still going to be pretty bad for me, because that would be a 4 reveal if I do it. And then I'm up to 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 9 corruption, and I still have to move a few more steps. I pass. I run in that this game is based on luck. He says Foul Thing is branded just like Orc Patrol. I said a poke Soren in the eye. So he plays, let's see, a Deadly Strife against my Riders of Theoden Daylight. Whenever I see strategy, I always play a defensive because I always think it's that. Let's see how they fare in DA. He gets 3, and I get 4 back. So he stops and draws. I pass. He attacks DA again, and decides not to. And just use Shadows Gather to reinforce that army. Now I play There Is No Other Way so I can heal before moving, because I'm worried about his win, but possibly. And I draw Phial of Galadriel. Super lucky. So the Fellowship, we entered Mordor, and now we're going backwards in the hunt. He attacks DA with no quarter. He plays Lure of the Ring, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. And he gets 4 hits. And I get 2 hits with the no quarter. But Gondor is done. And now I'm not really worried about moving the Fellowship here, because I'm so low on corruption. I only have 2 steps to do. And even if I pull an eye for 4, it's still a high chance that I'll win. It's a 0 reveal. I'd tell him GG in advance because there's no way he can win unless he puts a tile in. He plays Orc Patrol, so this could. I don't know if that would do anything. I think it's more if he reveals me. Oh no, he can't reveal me. Let's look at the hunt pool. Yeah, it's just a way to just give me some more damage. He draws an eye on that. LuckyRuds says he said it. I give a ring to dunk the ring on a 0 reveal. So that was like a healing Mordor track. The Fellowship was just chill up Mordor. So if you think about it, they had a miserable time going through Moria. Sad days for them. All the companions are dying on their way to Mordor. They get to Mordor. Legolas dies. The hobbits die, and Gollum just leads them up on a very calm ending. Only 2 corruption, so really low. I want to thank LuckyRuds for this game. Let's look at the stats on it. It was pretty lopsided, not going to lie. The combat was a little bit different, though. So it shows that I'm +2 on 6s. He was +7 on 5s. This makes sense because if you think about his hunts weren't the greatest, but his combats were. And he played a lot of modifier cards. I rolled enough movement, clearly. I was negative Palantirs, negative hybrids. He allocated a lot of eyes this game, which we talked about after. And the question is, how many eyes should you allocate? Because he was allocating eyes that weren't helping. But that doesn't always happen because this game is based on luck. So LuckyRuds, thank you for this game. I played him early on. I know he wants a rematch badly because he's playing so well, and clearly he's doing a great job as he's one behind me in the ladder. So thank you all for watching. LuckyRuds, I'm sorry this took so long to post. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you in the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye.